What's going on, guys? This is Kaishiro. Welcome back. So we are back with another video of Uncrowned Kings local metagame report. So we will cover tournament results from July 18 to July 24. So a week-long tournament results and decklist review. So we will tackle what are the decklists that have topped on the third week of July. This post-July ban list format. This 2023. And look at this, our new logo of Uncrowned Kings local metagame report. I hope you do like it, because I think this logo is quite good and amusing for me. So without further ado, let's get started. At first, we have Ogre Bogor, Yu-Gi-Oh! Ranking League Tournament. So at first, we have Dino. So a pretty standard decklist of Dino. Included the cards from Animation Chronicle, this Pterodactyl Wind Monster, Level 4, and the Fusion Monster on the extra deck. So I think this pretty neat decklist of Dinosaur, and also plays XYZ Encore on the side deck. I think XYZ Encore can be very good on the current format, especially purely players are playing once more their field spell. So Encore makes a lot of sense because Kaiju and Kurikara can be very subpar against a purely that has My Friend and a field spell on their side of the field. So yeah, I think XYZ Encore is a good choice here. And then also plays 2 Twin Twister. Maybe he wants to answer more back row decks on their local community, or just respecting back row enough. So yeah, really nice list from Darul Futur. And then next we have Purely here from Rachmat. So he plays the rainbow package of Crystal Beast here, the Eagle, the Cobalt Eagle, and the Trap card. So many players have ditched this engine on the Purely. They have replaced this engine for more hand traps and pot cards like Pot of Desires and Pot of Prosperity to improve the consistency of the deck. But Rachmat begged to differ and played this engine until this very moment. So I think it's quite refreshing to see that they still play this engine. This is the engine that Kuki Kosaka innovated from before, the World Champion 2019, and also plays Raspir mode on the side deck. I think this is a very good option from Rachmat because Purely doesn't commit that much on normal summon, so they have leeway to use this Spear mode as their normal summon that is very destructive against heavy combo decks on the format like Adamantiator and Super Heavy Samurai. So really nice. And I also like this Cosmic Cyclone inclusion here from Rachmat because Runic is still very relevant until this date, even though they lost their Runic Fountain into R1, one copy only. They can still tap, and the deck needs to be respected if you don't want to lose against it. So Cosmic Cyclone here is very nice from Rachmat. And then moving on, we have Rof Ashwad. This is also a member of Kaido Willy's tabletop community from Indonesia. So he still plays Burning Abyss until this date. Look at the date, we have here July 24, 2023, and he still plays Burning Abyss like nothing happened. So yeah, he is very loyal to this deck, and he plays this deck all the time. And he is a very good pilot. He is very adaptive. Look at this, he plays Danger on the Burning Abyss and with Sprite Engine. So he still find ways to make Burning Abyss relevant and decent on the modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Format, and plays Pilozoic Dynamiscus because you get so much value from discarding Burning Abyss monsters like Graph Ends here. So really nice. And plays Herald of the Abyss on the side deck. Works the same function as the XYZ Encore. Very nice as well, due to the same reasoning that I have said earlier, that Kaiju and Kurikara can be subpar on a game state where they have My Friend and their field spell. So yeah, really nice decklist from Ruff. And then next we have Gerard, Dynamorphia. So Gerard plays Transaction Rollback on the deck. I think this is a very good card to improve the resiliency and consistency of Dynamorphia. And plays triple what do you call this? The level 4 Fire of Dino. I forgot the name. Miscellaneousaurus, yeah. He wants to protect his board from other cards that may out his Rexstorm. And he also plays Mass of Restrict on the side deck. I think it's quite nice because he wants to play against Kurikara and Kaiju. So yeah, I think his Rex term is pretty safe here from tributing factors. Really nice from Gerard. And then moving on, we have weekly tournament report from Mabar X Guild tournament. So at first we have Salamangreat here. So this is a very usual or basic decklist of Salamangreat. Plays Rivalry on the side deck. I think this is a very good inclusion here from Gilang because you can lock your opponent from summoning the Weasel and the Baylings on their side of the field. So yeah, if they are stuck with Baylings and you have Rivalry, it's pretty much game over from there because you can just OTK your opponent from the next turn. If they don't have something like Droplet or Dark Hole, they are pretty much doomed, to be honest. Yeah, I think I like that interaction from Salamangreat recently, but nonetheless, Salamangreat is a pretty solid tier 3 deck for me. I think this deck can work magic for a lot of locals community if they are not prepared with Salamangreat. So yeah, really nice from Gilang. And the next we have INFERNOBLE Knights with Vanquishol engine. So pretty unusual. It's the first time that I have seen INFERNOBLE Knight with Vanquishol, to be honest, and I still don't know how this deck works. Maybe they are utilizing the fact that they are warrior monsters on this list, and it's the more explosive version of Vanquishol because this can go into Barone or something like the INFERNOBLE Synchro monsters. So yeah, it's really refreshing to see this variant, and plays Ultimate Slay on the side deck. Ultimate Slayer, I forgot the name on the current one. Ultimate or Ultimate Slayer, I forgot the name. I think this is a very good option here because you have cards like Rule Kalos and other cards like Barone on the metagame. So yeah, you still have a lot of problems to deal with on the field that has a lot of interruptions and negations. So Ultimate Slayer can be very good against that. And then next we have Hellkaiser Dragon Link. This is also a member of Kaido's community. This time he plays Dragon Maid, Chamber, and Tidying. I think this is a very good inclusion from Hellkaiser because the format now can be very problematic for Dragon Link, especially the release of Doomsday Typhoon Star, that XYZ Monster 2-9 from the Agov, Age of Overlord. So yeah, if you end up on Savage and Dispater and other 3k up boss monsters on this list, you may struggle against that. So having Tiding on your disposal can be very beneficial and crucial on that moment if you can out the XYZ, the Doomsday. So yeah, I think this really neat decklist from Hellkaiser, and this is a very good reference for Dragon Link. And then moving on, we have Osiris Duelist Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. We have Rescase here from Gusti. So a lot of hand traps on the main deck with Ghost Bell and then Veiler, and really makes a lot of sense because he plays Small World. So you have access to like something like Kurikara on the main deck and 2 triple tactics talent on the main deck. I think this is a very good from Gusti because the format can be very mid-rangey or hand trap oriented format with a lot of Veiler, Ghost Ogre, rather Ghost Bell, and DD Crow. So yeah, it's nice to have talents here just to have answer on that particular occasion. And then moving on, we have a different take on Dynamorphia with Aditya. Place the Wannabe on the main deck and place even more border on the main deck. Maybe you want to beat down your opponent by stunning them at first turn. So you have cards like the border and you can just beat down your opponent from there if they are not going to play around your border. And yeah, I think this is a pretty good innovation from Aditya. It's the first time that I have seen Dynamorphia played border on the main deck. Let alone Wannabe at 3. I think this is very good. This is very good as well on the Dynamorphia with the Zark package. Really nice from Aditya. And the next we have Lutfi Dragon Link. So this time a Dragon Link with branded engine. Plays the Despian Tragedy and plays Albaz and Aquem and double Nadir Servant as well, really interesting from Lutfi. And he plays triple Saronir. Many Dragon Link players have ditched their Bestial Engine package at maximum extent. They have played less copies of Saronir, and they have even dropped Baldric on the main deck for many decklists of Dragon Link lately. But this guy begged to differ and plays Baldric on the main deck. And then moving on, we have North Celebes card game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship. We have Dennis Romangu, Blackwing. So Blackwing has tops from here and there, no? They're not topping like really on crazy numbers, but you can definitely count on the deck when you have to look for a deck that can top on a very diverse format. So I think Blackwing does a good job on that department. And he plays Mass of Restrict on the side deck as well, and goes in match. Really nice to have protections on his monsters on the field from being tributed. And plays Dark Ruler No More. I think this is a very good card right now in the format, especially the Diabel Star introduction. Made a lot of negations and a lot of gateway for a lot of decks to shine on the format, especially those heavy combo decks like Adventurer, Tenyi, Diabel Star, and Punk engines. And you have things like Synchron and TG with Diabel Star and Adventurer that are doing well on the format. So Dark Ruler No More can be very crucial at this point. And then next we have Virtual World. This is the different take on Virtual World. Doesn't play the Mayakashi Ghost Meets Girl and Transaction Rollback. Instead, he plays the Artifact Site on the main deck. Really different from Juan Tampi. It's nice to see another version of Virtual World aside from the Transaction Rollback Turbo with the Beatrice Turbo on the deck. So yeah. And then next we have Steven Wong, Purely. So main deck, Kurikara, really interesting. Only plays to Purely Leap on the main deck. I think it's understandable. You don't want to draw 2 copies of this card, to be honest. And plays Talents on the main deck. Precaution for many hand traps on the format like Veiler and DD Crow and Ghost Bell. And still plays Santa Claus on the side deck. I think it's pretty unusual to see Santa Claus still having some place on the current format, but yeah, I guess it is what it is. And then moving on, we have Ricky S Toys and Hobby Shop. First place here we have Adventurer Synchron. So this deck, so light from Santana from Thailand, the second place of Duelist Cup main event. Many players have tried his take on Adventurer Synchron, and many players are awed and amused from his top on that tournament, because many people probably didn't expected this deck to top on that level of big event, but he still managed to top on that event. It's really crazy because he's a really skillful pilot. So yeah, I think this is a very good deck as well on that same note. And then plays Bestials on the side deck. I think it's quite understandable because you have things like Tearlaments still doing really nice on the format. So yeah, Bestial can be very good, and you have Matmech still on the format, and Bestials can also answer that. And then next we have Manadium. So another Synchro deck here. Another Synchro deck from Manadium. He plays only 2 copies of Maxi. Didn't wanna play Ash Blossom on the main deck. Really bold from this player, and plays Prohibition instead on the main deck. Maybe he wants to call Troll and Lockbird or other things like Nibiru or something like cards that can interrupt him when doing his combos. So really nice. And Artifact Lancea on the side deck. I think it's a really good inclusion here on the side deck because Artifact Lancea is very good on Rescue Ace. And you have things like Invoke Dogmatica still prepping some tops on the current format. The release of Nadir Servant into 3 made them relevant once again in our country at the very least. I have seen a lot of Invoke Dogmatica players that are doing quite well on the new format. And yeah, I think Lancea can be very devastating against that. Invoke Dogmatica Shaddal. And then next we have Matmech. Like I have said earlier, Matmech is still relevant. So yeah, we will see Matmech here. Third place, Matmech. Place Forbidden Chalice on the side deck. It's really interesting, but I don't rate Chalice that much. Maybe he just wants to have more negation type of cards rather than Effect Veiler and Imperm. So yeah, he doesn't play Imperm. It's pretty unusual, but yeah, I guess it works for him. Yeah, I guess Red Reboot on the main deck makes a lot of sense. You have things like Labyrinth that has a lot of trap cards, so Red Reboot can work against that. And yeah, I think it's a really neat list from this guy. Another Matmech. And then moving on, we have Duelist Cerebro Sungay Card Game Community. At first place here we have Rescue Ace. So yeah, I think this is the post Agov Rescue Ace. Didn't play the, what do you call this, Diabell Star. So interesting that he plays Mystical Space Typhoon on the side deck. Maybe he doesn't want to lose on time because Cosmic Cyclone pays 1k. So yeah, I think Typhoon here can make a lot of sense if that's the basis. And plays only 12 side deck cards. Really nice. He still topped the tournament despite playing 12 side deck cards. And then moving on, we have Unchained here. Another very good deck right now in the format. Quite underrated one because many players doesn't regard Unchained, to be honest. But for me, Unchained is a very good deck, especially on a format where it's pretty diverse. You don't expect a lot of things on the format like Unchained. So yeah, I think if you are less prepared against Unchained, Unchained can definitely make a run out of your money on the current format. And only plays one tour guide, really interesting. He doesn't wanna play tour guide on the deck. Maybe he doesn't want to lose against Ash because one Ash on tour guide can be very destructive against Unchained. And then next we have Evil Twin. A lot of side deck continuous traps on the side deck like Fiendish Chain and Summon Limit. Really interesting. I think I have seen this pilot from before on this tournament. So his side deck is pretty interesting. He plays Ice Dragon Prison and Bottomless Trap Hole. Really interesting choices of trap card on the current format. And then moving on, we have Headquarter Hobbies and Card Games. So at first place here we have TAFDLILA Rescue Ace. So quite standard decklist of Rescue Ace. Plays Monitor on the main deck. You don't see this every day, to be honest. But yeah, I think it works on a variant where you have to have access on Warlord Savage and Aurora Dawn package. So this is a quite combo-ish variant of Rescue Ace. Plays Lancea as well, very insane on mirror matches of Rescue Ace. And plays Kurikara and Dogoran, very useful on the side deck, especially if he plays Small World on the main deck. And then this time, Nabil Achmad Cyber Dragon, really spicy. Going second deck, doing well on a format like this is pretty an amazing feat because you don't see going second decks doing that much of a threat on the modern Yu-Gi-Oh format, especially this 2023. You often see less of going second decks having success, but Nabil still managed to top with Cyber Dragon, really insane, and triple border on the main deck, so he probably expects to go first when his opponent have been OTK'd on the first game when he went second. So yeah, he has countermeasures when going first with the form of border and rivalry as well. Really nice from Nabil. And then we have Adamantiator Earth Good stuff here from Kafi. So 59 card main deck. He didn't wanna play 60, I guess, but yeah, 59 is a odd number for me. Plays triple Lava Golem on the side deck. I think this can be very good, especially in a format where it doesn't have a lot of combo oriented decks on the format. Usually decks end on 2 monsters, just that. So yeah, Lava Golem can make a lot of sense on that note. And then plays a lot of going second cards on the main deck, no? On the side deck rather. Lightning Storm, Dark Ruler No More, and Evenly Match. The only going first cards are the Dimensional Barrier I see. Very notable from Kafi. And then Irsiad, Resonator. So this deck also gained traction from the release of the new structure deck of Jack Atlas recently. So the deck saw limelight on that regard, and many players have picked up this deck, and it instantly became a success on that note as well. And many players are still playing this deck, and I have seen that there's a lot of tops of this deck recently. I think this is a very good and decent deck right now in the format. And then moving on, we have Arcanium Hobbies Tournament. Speaking of Resonator, we have seen Resonator from earlier, but we have now first place Resonator on the report here of Arcanium Hobbies. Place the Earthbound package on the main deck. I think this is the way to go when playing Resonator RDA right now. It makes the deck more explosive, and you have cards like Earthbound to really start your plays. And plays sa Oravis as well. Maybe he wants to play around Veiler and Imperm on this list. Plays Trap Eater on the side deck as well. Really interesting. And Anti-Spell Fragrance, because I think this is a very underrated card. Many players doesn't expect Fragrance on the side deck. Especially they are now playing Lightning Storm and Dark Ruler no more recently. So yeah, Fragrance can really catch people off guard right now. And then next we have TAFDLILA, Rescue Ace. So I think this is the same decklist from earlier. Yeah, same decklist. I think he tapped on multiple locals this week. And then next we have 59 cards Adamantiator. This is the same pilot from earlier, I think. Yeah, the triple lava golem. And we have Bestial Dragon Link here. Really nice decklist. 43 card main deck from GOBZ. Plays triple Lancea on the side deck. And 2 Droll, 2 Nibiru. Really concise, but yet effective. Place the Appointer of the Red Lotus on the side deck. Really insane card as well when going first, because you want to eradicate cards like Lava Golem, Spear Mode, Kaiju on your opponent's hand, rather than just praying that the opponent didn't open with those kind of cards. So yeah, I think it's a nice preventive measure from GOBZ. And then moving on, we have Duelist Dewata Tournament. At first place here, we have Donnie, Vanquish Soul, Super Heavy Samurai. Really interesting. I have one friend named Joshua Coreano, also a regular player here in our local community. He said that this is a very good deck if the opponents don't know how to interact with this deck. I think I have a gist now of what are the things that he has been saying to me. So yeah, this is the first time that I have seen Vanquish Soul, Super Heavy Samurai tap. I think it's really nice from Donnie. I pretty much don't know how this deck works. Maybe you have things like Rock of Vanquisher to end up, and you have things like Barone on the field, and what do you call this? Black Rose to go second. So yeah, really interesting from Donnie. And the next we have Ramat, Invoke Dogmatica. Like I have said earlier, Invoke Dogmatica once again saw some limelight recently of the R3 Nadir, because what are you gonna do with Winda, to be honest? Winda has been very devastating, very annoying, and very petty to deal against. If you don't have outs to Winda, to be honest, you're pretty much losing on a game state where Winda and Mekaba are on the same field. So yeah, I think R3 Nadir is a very good addition to Invoke Dogmatica. Not that obstructive, but still powerful on my perspective. And then next we have Chimera from Lo. So plays Alpha Master of Beast on the main deck. I guess this is post pre-Agov, because he didn't play the new Illusionist cards on this list. So yeah, it's pre-Agov. Play Small World, really basic and usual from Chimera engines. And plays Raigeki. That's the most interesting part. I haven't seen Raigeki that much lately, but yeah, I guess it still works on certain local tournaments. And then moving on, we have Prodigy Bekasi Tournament. So what first here, we have champion here, we have Labyrinth. So didn't play the new support. I guess it's from before Agov. And plays Ice Dragon Prison on the main deck and Dogmatic Punishment. It really makes a lot of sense because you want to interrupt your opponent. When going first, you have things like Dogmatic Punishment and IDP to interrupt them. And plays Forbidden Droplet. This is very unusual, but I get the logic that you want to have your furniture cards on the graveyard as early as possible. So yeah, I think Droplet can be very obscure here. And then moving on, we have Order of the Duelist in Albay, local tournament. First place here we have William Penmagi. So this is a tournament in our country, and many players are revitalized when Alvin Dave Rodriguez topped our Duelist Cup Philippines tournament recently, because he played Pendulum Magician on that tournament, and many players also believe that this is still a very good deck until this date. And yeah, you can definitely count on that, because I have seen a lot of Pendulum Magicians tapping on our country. And then next we have Castel. I have played with this guy from Duelist Cup as well. I think he's a very nice player, a really chill opponent when I'm playing against him. And 48 card main deck plays Naturia on the Tearlaments and Kashtira combined deck. I think it's pretty unusual, but yeah, I get the logic. You want to have more discard fathers on your GY, so yeah, I think it can work. And the next we have Junpei Seryu. This guy is really insane. I have no words to explain his deck list, to be honest. I don't know how this works, to be honest. I really don't recall any play or line of play to be viable on this deck. I don't even know if he is going first or going second. His extra deck says that he wanna go first with IP and Pulusa, but his main deck says that he kinda go second with Evenly Match and Droplet here. So we have and Mech Knight as well. So yeah, really interesting from Junpei Seryu. Really absurd deck list. And then fourth place we have Alexis Didin, Runic Control. Really standard deck list of Runic. Plays Didi Dynamite on the main deck. What? Really insane from Alexis. You don't see this every day. But yeah, I guess it can work on a pretty slow game state. You have cards like Dynamite to burn your opponent on the long run. So yeah, really interesting. And then moving on, we have Fireyans, Card Game Merchant, OCG tournament. At first place here, we have Labyrinth. Pretty standard deck is of Labyrinth. Plays the Unchained on the main deck. It can make the deck more explosive and issues of cards as well. Really nice on purely matchups, Tearlaments matchups, and even on the mirror match. It can really work like a magic. So yeah, I think this is a very good inclusion here. And moving on, we have Resonator, Bestial. So yeah, with Chaos Space as well. So yeah, really explosive here. And things like the Bestial engine makes the deck more resilient and has a lot of extenders as well. And can also play the Hieratic Seal. So yeah, interesting. And then next we have ABC. Wow. I don't recall when is the last time that I have seen ABC top. But yeah, I think this deck can still surprise, no? It can still top until this date. It's really enticing to see ABC. And he plays Dark Ruler No More, Droplet. Really nice on the side deck. So he is pretty capable of going second on this deck. I don't know what are the end boards on this deck. Maybe the Colossus and Barone. And something like this Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So yeah, really nice. And then moving on, we have Devil Slayer Master Duel Tournament. At first here we have Branded. So yeah, pretty standard deck list of Branded. We won't ponder on it too much. And then moving on, we have Rescue Ace, standard as well. Plays Duster on the main deck. Kinda good on mirror matches if they are still not playing the Savage on the extra deck. If they are still playing the Proxy F Magician route, they can be very granted against Duster on Mirror. And then moving on, we have Variance Card Game Merchant, another tournament from Variance. First place here, we have a Frizzle, Super Heavy Samurai. So a bunch of hand traps and a lot of good going second cards like Kaiju and Nibiru. Really does the magic for Super Heavy Samurai, because this is quite a good combo wish to mid-range type of deck. You have a lot of hand traps to incorporate on the deck, and you still have good going second cards. And on top of that, you have one card combos that can go into Barone. So yeah, I think it's really nice to have a Super Heavy Samurai. I think this is a pretty balanced deck, and it's the type of deck that you want to play on the long-term process. And next we have Branded here. Really interesting. Plays Maximus on the main deck with Predaplant Engine as well. So I think this makes the deck have a lot of higher ceiling than the usual Branded. So moving on, we have our Kaido Willis Neolic tournament. This is my Tri-Brigade Diabell Star. I have played this deck recently, yesterday, to be honest. I think this is quite a good mixture of Diabell Star and Tri-Brigade, but I really don't regard this deck that much, because I think Tri-Brigade is still pretty consistent. You can have access to Omni Negates on the negations rather on the Diabell Star, and you have discard fathers on the Diabell Star cards. But yeah, I really think that having more hand traps is better than this, to be honest. It's just my perspective, but that's how I see Tri-Brigade as a very good mid-range deck that needs to make room for a lot of hand traps on the main deck to be able to interrupt the more faster meta decks and meta-relevant decks recently. But nonetheless, I got first place champion on the tournament. So yeah, I think it's really nice. And then moving on, we have my Rescue Ace Diabell Star once more. Another Diabell Star deck. It is very insane, to be honest. I still don't have access to the Synchro Toolbox on my side deck, or rather extra deck. I don't have the Olayon and the Synchro stuff on the deck. But yeah, I think it worked pretty decent or above average on my perspective, because I have faced a lot of good decks on that tournament. We have tournaments, Diabell Star, and we have things like Purely. So yeah, I think this deck is still very strong. So yeah, I think this is the best deck when we take into consideration that we have now Diabell Star cards on the format. And yeah, I believe that this is the best deck right now, aside from something like Purely or Elements. I really weigh this deck higher and a tier above them on my perspective. So now we have Diabell Star cards and the support from GOBZ. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to expect good things from Diabell Star moving forward. And then next we have Yu-Gi-Oh! LU Grand Prix champion deck profile here from Ramses J. Aquino. So Vanquish All with the new support from GOBZ as well. This card and the trap card, I think it's pretty decent, but I really don't regard Vanquish All that much of a dominant deck on the new format of post GOBZ. I think it's pretty decent and a very good roguish to tier 3 meta relevant deck, but it's nothing higher than that for my perspective. A good deck, but not the best on the current format. And then moving on, we have Osiris, the Willis Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. We have Gumi, first place prank kids. So yeah, it's really an amusing sight to behold that prank kids still manages to top. Until this date, I thought the 2 Meow Meow Moo won't make a lot of difference on this deck, but yeah, this pilot begged to differ and still got first place on the tournament. I really think that prank kids is a deck that you should look out for when playing on a very small locals. If there are players that plays prank kids, you might be well prepared against those type of players, because this deck can snatch victories on the current metagame. And then next we have Satellar Knight. So yeah, the turbo turn skip deck, and yeah, it's pretty cancerous to me. but yeah, it gets the job done, to be honest. And then next we have Vanquishol, another Vanquishol. This time doesn't have the new support, no? I think it's from before. So yeah, we won't ponder on it too much. It's pretty standard decklist of Vanquishol, but I guess it works with Tyrion as well, really nice. And then next, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! LU Grand Prix, the finalist on that tournament, Trap Tricks. Only 11 cards on the side deck, really interesting. Hit up even though he has only 11 cards on the side deck. And even doesn't have Zeus on the extra deck. It's really nice. It speaks volume on how skillful he is. So yeah, pretty standard deck list of Trap Tricks, but lacking some components to make the deck more higher ceiling, to up the ceiling of the deck, because this is without Zeus and only 11 side deck cards. But still a good job from Joshua Lopez. And the next we have purely Diable Star Matthew Bautista on the Kaido Willis Neo League tournament. Pad B, this is the thing that I have said earlier. We have purely Diable Star on that tournament. So this is the deck that Kukui Kosaka and the current Japan Championship champion, I forgot the name, I guess Hasegawa, I forgot. Yeah, I think purely is a very good deck right now in the format. Diable Star is a good addition to purely, but I don't think purely really needs Diable Star. But yeah, I think Kukui Kosaka and his friends thinks that this deck is the way to go when playing purely right now. And I think that it has a lot of sense in a regard that Diable Star elevates the ceiling of purely. But yeah, many decklists didn't even play Diable Star and still managed to top until this date. So I'm 50-50 on playing Diable Star or without Diable Star on purely. But we will see on the following weeks and days of the new format if what are the best innovation and engine for purely right now. If purely really needs to have Diable Star, or they are fine alone on purely. So yeah, moving on. We have Kaido Willis Neo League Day 24, Exo Sister, from the same player on a different tournament. Pretty standard decklist of Exo Sister. Now we have the inclusion of the Typhoon and the SP Link to really expensive cards right now in the OCG format. But yeah, I think these two cards can really elevate the extra deck of many decks right now in the format. It gives so much value on tight occasions. You have SP Link to bail you out, and you have cards like Typhoon to manage and manhandle heavy combo decks on the format. So yeah, they are really valuable, and I think they are pretty deserving of their price tag right now. And then moving on, we have Makassar Duelist Community. At first place here, we have Sky Striker. So yeah, doesn't play the Camellia and Azalea on the extra deck, but I think Sky Striker can work fine without them. And this is a going second Sky Striker. So yeah, you expect to go second with this deck with Raigeki and Droplet, things like that. And then moving on, we have second place Illusionist Beast. So yeah, I think this is without the support from Agov as well. Placed Super Poly on the main deck, really nice card on the format. I think it can catch a lot of dark attribute based decks on the format like Tier Elements, and also Rescue Ace can be fire attribute dominant, can go into Mad Dragon. So yeah, Super Poly makes a lot of sense right now on the format. And the next we have S-Force, really interesting. It's the first time that I have seen S-Force, to be honest. I don't really recall this deck topping any at all recently, but Edwin begged to differ and played S-Force and still managed to top with this very unusual deck. And then moving on, that sums up our video. I think that's about it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a thing or two, and if you are free or you have free time, you can check out our Facebook page of Uncrowned Kings Local Metagame Report. And if you are not yet subscribed on my YouTube channel, hit the subscription button, as it helps me and motivates me a lot. So thank you for watching. See you.
again.